I know that I am over a week late with this story right here, but you know what? After doing that video I did a couple days ago talking about the mask being mandatory in some states, this actually comes right into play perfectly. So in this picture, you see two black men wearing masks, and you see a palm colored cop right there following behind them. And I believe they're in a Walmart. And they basically was followed around the store, or at least in this aisle, because they had these masks on. Now, mind you, this was over a week ago when this happened. So it's not like it's months when it happened. But this is just typical racial profiling in the midst of a pandemic. Remember, I was talking about how you had those palm colored supremacists talking about they were going to turn this into a biomedical weapon. This right here is no different. Like I said, they do not take the time off, the day off, a minute, a second off to practice their racism. So I'm going to go ahead and read this article coming from The Telegraph. As the area attempts to navigate challenges and changes brought about the virus, established practices, rules, and procedures are requiring another look. A recent YouTube video showed two young African-American men with surgical masks being followed by a Wood River police officer as they left Walmart in Wood River. Viewers were at odds whether the men were racially profiled or causing a disturbance. I don't see a disturbance. They were just there walking, but you know, when you got that skin on you, that's just enough of a disturbance. If they could turn their heads and be like, who are they? That's a disturbance. That's a distraction. As well as if anyone should be asked to remove a surgical mask in light of the virus concerns. The video, which first aired March 18th, has more than 30,000 views. Jamon Best of Bellevue, who made the video, said he shared it because he wanted to show the world racial profiling is happening and the situation could have been much worse. I don't know this guy personally who posted the video under the name Halo Dale. We just wanted to shine some light because this happens so often. Best and another man in the video, D'Angelo Jackson of Wood River, described the situation as terrifying and said they felt like they were prey being stalked by the officer who approached them instead of Wood River city ordinance prohibits them from wearing masks in the business. Now, the reason why I'm glad that I've come across this now is because now that some states want to implement this whole being mandatory that you wear a mask when you step outside for no matter what. What if they were in one of those mandatory states and they still got followed around the store by this cop? What then? They take the mask off, and then if they got caught, they would get a fine? They would get arrested? Like I tell you, any day that ends in Y. I don't know if he was having a bad day, said Best. I never said that the guy was racist. All I'm saying is that his actions were very suspect. Wood River Police Chief Brad Wells said he had been reluctant to make a public statement about the incident because the video didn't look good on the surface. He said the posted video didn't show the entire interaction between the officer and the men involved, adding that the incident took place before there were a lot of people wearing surgical masks in public. Here comes the deflection. There's not much I can say, said Wells. I back the officer by what he tells me. Just like anything, there's more to the story. Wells said the officer was mistaken when it came to the story's policy prohibiting masks, and it was the one error made in the incident. Well, hold on. Then it was the cop's job to find out the policy that the store had in place. And I'm almost certain that these two guys were not the only ones in the store that had a mask on, but because they stood out and they were the two black guys in the store with a mask on, he automatically saw in their mind, maybe they're robbers, maybe they're thieves, because, you know, it goes back to that thing, you know, back then where a lot of robbers would wear bandanas across their face and hoodies and glasses, you know, to hide and conceal their face back then. So that's what they assumed they were going to do. But like I said, as a cop, he should have known what the policy was in place. Let's see. It says, well, okay. He said Best and Jackson immediately started saying they were being harassed when the officer approached them. They immediately went into the race issue, said Wells. The officer, didn't kick them out of the store or refuse entry. Best said they followed the officer's order to take off the mask and left the store rather than show identification. Show identification to be in a store. What does that sound like? A free slave that got his freedom papers. See, this this person, this Wells person, automatically is on the side of the cop, as if everything he said is fact, even though there's video evidence right there. Well, because we didn't see the entire video, we can't really say it was a race issue or anything like that. All they had to do was go up to see if someone else had a mask on and ask them why they didn't follow them around the store. But I'm certain that it was more people in that store that had a mask on, not just these two guys. Being a young African-American male is kind of hard when you interact with the police because you don't know what state of mind they're in. Jackson said just watching a lot of videos of police officers abusing their authority towards people was keeping me afraid, wondering why this cop was harassing us. I was just more worried about him doing something he's not supposed to do. Wells did not confirm the officer's identity. He said he didn't know the names of the men involved, but Wood River Police would cooperate fully if the men wished to file an official complaint, as if that's really going to do anything. I don't have an official complaint from them, said Wells. If they did make an official complaint, there's a component in law enforcement allowing things to be investigated. See, like I said, this is just basically them going back to protecting, themselves. And like I said, in the midst of all this going on, expect more of this to occur. More so in these type of settings right here. Expect more of that to occur. Like, these guys were following whatever protocol they felt they needed to follow or to take precaution while they were being safe. And what if someone in that store, let's just say, possibly had the Wuhan? By them taking off their mask, if they felt that was going to keep them safe, all they had to do was probably inhale one good time and boom, they probably have it. Or who's to say that this cop right here could have been exposed to it and he just did this to follow them around to give it to them? You never know. Like I said, you had these palm color supremacists out here who I did a video on saying that they was putting their saliva on elevator door buttons and handles, and putting their saliva in spray bottles and spraying people, and who they was targeting. They said law enforcement and non-white people. So I wouldn't be the least bit surprised. Like, people are out here coughing on purpose on people or spitting. Like I told you, this Wuhan has exposed everybody for some of the disgusting acts that they could ever put on display. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. Make sure you follow me on Twitter if you haven't done so already. Have your notifications turned on, and I'll talk to you in the next one.